guys, I know I'm late. I had a million malfunctions. Now we're gonna have malfunctions with my camera because both of my little stands are broken. This is so bad, I'm sorry. Hi. Please work, please work. Please work. Hi. It's probably gonna fall. Bear with me, I know this is bad. My stand's gonna fall. Oh no, what do I do? I don't know how to hold it. This is so bad. Hi guys. Can y'all hear me? Someone's trying to come in my room. I think it's a cat. Shocking that it's a cat. Alright, we're gonna keep turning this until it works. Did it work? Okay, hi guys, I'm here. Oh my gosh. It worked. Okay. Come in. Come on. You gotta come in. Okay. Alright. I'm back. Here I am. Hi. Hi everyone. If y'all will kindly press the share button and inform some people that I'm live, although I'd rather not have live viewers. That would actually be better. Hopefully y'all can see me now. Okay, hi. If you are watching the replay, I'm sorry for the first 2 minutes. I would love for you to tell me your favorite LipSense color. I want to know. So go ahead and leave that down in the comments, please. And then we'll get started. If you are a live watcher, tell me where you're from and tell me what your favorite product is. That sentence carries. Hi. This cat. Y'all. I had cats in my last video that got all over the place, and this one's definitely trying to do that as well. So, hi. My name is Allison. I really don't want to be on here. I don't know why I continue to do this to myself, but I do. And I think that maybe it's good for me. My chest hurts really bad right now. I feel like I shouldn't be nervous at this point because it's been like a little over 2 years. This is my 3rd time doing Kissmas. I feel like I should not be as like want to pass out nervous as I am. Hi guys. Alright, we can get started. So I'm doing a presentation today, a training today on one of my favorite topics that I never thought would be my favorite topic. A lot of my friends have done them. I've had someone do some sort of branding. I personally would have never done branding. It's just not my thing. Although I did go to college for graphic design for 2 semesters, and I don't know what happened to that. But anyway, I'm just not. It's so hard for me to process those things and understand like what a brand is and what makes it good, and maybe they just got lucky. So I've always asked other people to do it. And then I was invited to travel to Canada and speak for their July pit stop for Synergence. And I was given 5 topics, or I had to choose 5 topics and create presentations for that. And I stalled, I panicked, I procrastinated, I pretended like it wasn't actually happening to me, I tried not to. I did everything I possibly could to get out of it and to not have to do the work because there's still that part of me that doesn't like believe in myself and my capabilities, and I don't know who I am and all that stuff. But I was given a topic called creating a lifestyle brand to build your business, and I understand what it means, and I understand what it is to have a brand, a lifestyle brand, but I wasn't necessarily sure on how to create it, and I wasn't sure how I was going to give valuable information that would help other people like come to their, my children are crying and wanting me. I have like 4 or 5 children in my house right now, and I'm not sure who all of them are. But they're very loud if you can hear them. Anyway, I had to kind of dive deep. I did a lot of research on other companies, small businesses, individuals, and what their brands were, and then I tried to do some research on how people came up with a brand, and I have an excerpt from a website that I really liked in my notes that I'm going to read to y'all. And I've gone through this presentation. I've probably given it 3 times now, or twice. No, I've given it 3 times. I did it at Canada for their pit stop. I did it at on a webinar for Synergence, which I know that those don't get viewed a lot, so I'm only thinking maybe like 40 or 50 people saw it, which is fine. I was having technical issues, like I always do, with that anyway. And then I went live just really quickly in the morning one day because I was feeling inspired for my team, but it wasn't like this. I just kind of ran through my slides, and I didn't necessarily peel back the layers of it. So I've actually gone through this process myself. I was going through it as I was creating this PowerPoint, and I've gone through it a few more times, and I've kind of reassessed who I am as a brand and who I am as a distributor, who I am as a person, who I am as a mom, as a wife, as a friend. It's helped me kind of put the puzzle pieces together, if you will, of my life, and understand why I am the way I am, why things have happened the way they've happened, why I react the way I do, why I think the way I do. And this is just going to be something really helpful for y'all. Hopefully, if you take notes or if you do screenshots of whatever I'm going to show you, hopefully it will just help you better figure out who you are and what you want to represent online, offline, and it'll help you become a better business owner and all those things. And if I get too boring or make anyone fall asleep, please let me know. I'm doing my best to just remain calm because all I'm listening to is little kids run up and down, run back and forth upstairs and screaming for mommy, and I'm shaking, and the cats are eating things. So I'm just trying to get it all together. And I believe my husband's gonna be home after a week of being gone, so he might be walking in any minute. My father's in the garage right behind me riding a bike. My mother's upstairs watching my children, neighbors' children, just all the things going on right now. All right, if y'all are ready to get started, bye. His voice is so cute. I wish y'all could hear that right now. So if y'all are ready to get started, I am ready to share with y'all how to create a lifestyle brand to build your business. And now I'm going to turn off comments, maybe, for a minute, just so I can not look at those. All right. So I asked y'all earlier if you would kind of write down like a rough draft timeline of your life, maybe milestone events or just things that you can remember that maybe or may not have defined you yet. They can be good, they can be bad. I just kind of wanted you to write that down. So if you'll pull that out, or if you'll start doing it now while I'm going through this first part, that will definitely help you kind of process what I'm going to be saying. So those of you that already have done your timeline and you're not currently writing on it, we're going to take about 3 minutes right now, and we're going to do some exercises. And this is going to involve you closing your eyes. And we're going to be calm. And we're going to think. All right, so we're going to go through 5 emotions right now that I believe have helped define me when I think about who I was when I'm experiencing these emotions or times when I've experienced them. And it's helped me kind of process all of this information that we're about to have. So I want you guys to close your eyes. And then I want you to think about a time when you were joyful. Think about several times when you were joyful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we're thinking about joyful. You can think of one thing, you can think of 5 things. I want you to think of times when you were really, truly happy. And you're going to write down who you were with, what you were doing, where were you, how old were you, and what were you thinking. So those are the 5 things that we're going to go process through the 5 emotions that I have. Sorry, I know this is like kind of, I wish y'all could see the PowerPoint, but at the same time you don't really need, all you need to be hearing is what I'm instructing you to do. So our first emotion was joyful. If you will write down as many times as you can remember in the next minute, or go back and rewatch this video and kind of go through the process again and again and again. You can't do it too many times. You're going to discover something about yourself each time you go through this process. So the next emotion that I want you to close your eyes and think about is a time when you were strong. And this can be defined however you want. It could be when you're healthy. It could be when you made a good decision. It could be when you did something that was tough. Whatever you want. I want you to write down the times when you were strong. I'll give you just a minute. The next thing I want y'all to do is think about times when you were angry. I mean, blood boiling. You couldn't control yourself angry. And that's important. That's like my favorite emotion to process, if you will. The next one is proud. I want you to think about a few times when you were the most proud. It could be of someone else, it could be of yourself, it could be of whatever you want. I hope my voice is like calm so that we can all walk through this process. Normally I'm like, oh my gosh! The last emotion that I want you guys to go through with me is when you were most excited. Think about times that have excited you. Your eyes lit up. You couldn't control your smile. Your face hurt. Just whenever you were the most excited. Now, this is going to help process those things. This is our reflection on these times continued. Like I said earlier, we're going to go through all of those emotions and what you wrote down, and you're going to talk about who you were with. These are all important too. What you were doing. Where were you? How old were you? And what were you thinking? Self-discovery can be made in these moments. So now you have all this information and all this timeline stuff and all these people and all these emotions that you've gone through, and how are we going to process them? What do I do with this now? And I'm going to help you kind of dive through it. We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. And the reason I wanted to tell you that is because you can go through things in life. You can go through hard times, great times, amazing learning experiences. But if you don't sit there and think about it and process it and reflect on it, exactly what we're doing now, how are you going to take what you've potentially learned in that experience and move forward with it? How are you going to become a better version of yourself? How are you going to take that time, that hardship, that happy time, that anything, and make it a part of your life that's going to continue you, and not so that you just continue the same pattern over and over and over again. Again, that quote was, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." Now I'm going to read you some of my research that I found. This will kind of help you understand what I'm doing with this process. Personal branding is essentially the ongoing process. Like I said, ongoing process. How many times did I say I've done this? A handful. It's the ongoing process of establishing a prescribed image or impression in the minds of others about an individual, a group, or an organization. So let's break that down a little bit. Personal branding. Some people think of it as a color scheme. Some people think of it as a logo. Some people think of it as an image, a pattern, whatever it is. And that's fine and dandy if that's what's going to, I don't know, excite you. You are totally allowed to do that. You can have an image. I don't have an image, but you can have a brand or a color scheme or whatever it is that helps kind of define you. But even more so than that, how do people think about you when they either talk about you or when they hear about you or when they see you online or when they see you in person? What impression do you give off on them? What do they remember about you? And that can be, honestly, just like what I've done. I have no logo, I have no image, I have no name, I have no brand, but I'm me. I'm my brand. I am, and we're going to talk about this later, I have basically put me into categories now. And anytime I make a post, well, almost anytime, let's say about 85% of the time, I'm very intentional with my post. It has to fit into one of the categories that defines me. And that's my brand. It's more than a trademark or a stunning logo. It's how you present yourself online and offline to potential clients and customers. Your brand image is what you create to help build your business. Your personal brand centers around you as an individual. All right, so there's a process, if you want to look it up online, on how you sit back and or take a look at events that have happened to you and how you can reflect on them and be effective with your reflection and take away something from it. So it's a cycle, and the first one is concrete experience. You are doing or having an experience. So that's when you're going through something that you're going to reflect on later. Reflective observation is next. Reviewing or reflecting the experience. You can do this immediately after, you can do this a few days after, you can do this a few weeks, a few months, a few years after. Abstract conceptualization, concluding and learning from the experience. So once you've reflected on it, obviously there's something that you're going to take away from it. And then active experimentation, planning and trying out what you have learned. Like I said earlier, if you just go through things in life, you experience things in life, and you don't reflect on them, you don't take away a little grain of salt or a golden nugget or whatever it is through that good or that bad time that you experienced, you're not going to progress from it. You're going to continue the same pattern, the same cycle, the same rut, the same anything that you're currently experiencing. So this is how you're going to get out of it. And this is how you're going to make yourself more whatever you want to be. So this is something that really affected me while I was actually giving the presentation. I didn't realize at the time when I was making this PowerPoint how powerful it would be for me as I was saying it out loud. And I know that that doesn't have anything to do with branding, is saying it out loud, but that's something that I've really truly learned on this journey of being a distributor for 2 years. Is I can wish things, I can hope things in my head. I can write them down sometimes. I'm going to be honest, I don't write a lot of things down. I normally just capture it all here. But if I've said something out loud, it affects me deeply. And so as I was saying this timeline of me, who I was, all the things that I went through and who I am now, or who I think I am now, it was, if you were in Canada then, like, say hi. I don't know if anyone here is watching. I think there were like 150 people there. That was a pretty big moment, and I think we all like were crying together. I know that we were all like standing and clapping. I don't even know why I was clapping. I was just like, wow. So if you happen to be there in Canada, Pit Stop July 2018, let me know, because that I just kind of want to give you a hug. So my personal discovery, my personal timeline. We're going to do 2005 and earlier. This was before I graduated high school. This was, well, so we're going to say that this is early childhood, grade school. I would have defined myself as lonely, shy, worried, and sad. when I think about me as a student, me as a preteen, teenager, what I can remember of it, I cannot name one person that I had that was a friend back then. I had a neighbor that I ran around and did things with. I had that's really it. I was always worried. I was always assuming other people were talking about me. I was always assuming that whatever I had just said was the dumbest thing in the world. I was always embarrassed of the way I looked or the way I talked or the way I thought. I would completely avoid eye contact in halls. I would sink down in the back of the room so that a teacher wouldn't call on me, and most of the time, let's say if like a girl or a guy or anything like made eye contact with me in the hall or said hi, I would almost black out, because and my face would get, if you've seen my face, like if I get nervous or maybe a little embarrassed or any of that, I mean my face instantaneously like that color red. And so that was a constant thing for me growing up. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't have friends. Literally, I did not have friends. My parents could come in here right now and be like, yep, she sat at home on her computer all the time. I would avoid any kind of birthday parties. I would avoid any get-togethers. I would always pretend to be sick. Or have my mom make some excuse. If for some reason I did have someone that I wanted to hang out with, I would have my mother call because I couldn't get on the phone. I was too scared to talk on the phone to anyone. And that was until probably my senior year. Yeah, so that was me growing up. And then my next like kind of momentous timeline thing was about 2007. I started working really early in life. I was a nanny. I did all this babysitting stuff. I don't even remember half the things I did. But I was working probably from about the age of 12. I just remember I always wanted to be busy and I always wanted to be working. And I ended up getting a job at a place called Kohl's. And I was in 11th or 12th grade. It was before I graduated. And I didn't necessarily have like a job title, but I knew I was coming out of my element at that point because all of a sudden when people walked in, I was their personal shopper. And then we're talking about Kohl's. There's no help. You have to usually ask someone to go clean out a dressing room at a place like Kohl's. But I, all of a sudden, was this everyone's personal shopper. I had regulars coming in. And then I transitioned to the checkout register. And they would always have these deals where you could scratch a card and get 10%, 20%, or 30%. And I started getting even more regulars because I didn't understand why this nice person only got 10% and the jerk behind or in front of him got 30%. Why couldn't all the people have 30% or 20% or whatever? Again, I was like 17. Needless to say, I was fired from that job. Because I gave everyone 30% off. Not everyone, but I gave way more people than their numbers allowed for having 30% off, and I got called to the back office, and the inventory control officer guy, whatever he was, I don't know, he was my buddy, but he was like, yeah, you gave a lot of 30% off. We lost a lot of money. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So obviously I wasn't laughing back then, but I was fired. But I learned in that moment that I was wanting to give to people, and I was wanting to help people, and I was wanting to serve them somehow. And I didn't realize at 17 that that was kind of like my heart's intention. I wanted to help out as many people as I could. I was just embarrassed at the fact that I got fired. Now I can laugh. 2008, 2009, I job hopped. We're talking, I cleaned a gym. I was their janitor. I cleaned random people's houses. I'm a terrible cleaner. No one should have ever hired me to clean anything. I have people come over like twice a week now just so that my house can be like maintained somewhat. I worked at a car dealership. They kind of invented another position invention for me. I was their service desk manager. I was the main receptionist of the whole dealership. There was 2 other spots that I kind of jumped around. I was a bartender. I was, gosh, what else did I do? There were so many jobs. I had so many jobs. So I bounced around. And what I learned from that was that no matter like how much I was making or how much fun I was having or what experience that I wasn't like being fulfilled in all of those things. I wasn't happy with whatever kind of paycheck I was getting at that age. I just kind of let people around me affect me, or one situation or another, and I just couldn't show my face again, or, you know, all the drama that you have whenever you're 18 and 19. So I job hopped a lot. I wouldn't say anything lasted for more than like 6 months, maybe. Sorry, I get nervous. I burp and I hiccup at the same time whenever I get nervous. I started, we're gonna talk about this. So when I was 20 years old, I got pregnant. And I was not dating anyone. I was not married. I was not, I could not support I had probably just left a job. I could not support myself. I was at a very, very low point in my life. I had just dropped out of college, all of that stuff. And I made a promise to myself. I actually found out when I was about 2 or 3 weeks pregnant. It was really early. I just knew. And I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to be a statistic. And I didn't know at the time what I was telling or what I was hearing or what I was saying. But I made that promise to myself and I never broke it. And I gave myself about 2 months to try to get my affairs in order. And then I ended up moving back in with my parents. And I had my first daughter, Peyton. She is 8 years old now. She is the reason that I feel like I was able to kind of get out of that downward spiral and force myself to do something different with my life. And so that's when I first started doing my own businesses. I made hair bows. I started making them for her, and then I couldn't stop making them, and I couldn't stop buying the ribbon, and before you know it, there's thousands of dollars of ribbon and accessories and thread and glue and clips and all the things. I don't know. I went overboard, and I started going to vendor shows, and I started selling hair bows that were awful. They were awful. They were literally terrible. I still don't, I think there's a few people on here that know that I still struggle with tying my shoes. Don't know why. I know exactly how to do it. I know how to teach my children, but whenever I'm going down to tie my shoe, all of a sudden they're both both of the loops are over here and the strings are over here. I don't know. It's official. You can claim it. Allison Duke is terrible at tying her shoes. So anyway, they were awful, but that was kind of my first experience with starting a business of my own. I ended up kind of getting an opportunity that fell into my lap, and it was eyelash extensions, and that's these things that are on my eyes right now. I've had them for 9 years, and I've never taken them off. I started getting them done. I kind of did some, I just saw some ads. It was a brand new thing. And so I went and got them done. I went and got them done in Dallas. And I went for a few months, and then I was like, I didn't actually say this to her, but this is what I was, me being the bratty person and the competitive person that I am. I was like, I can do this. I can do this better than you. How'd you get started? And so I asked her, and so I got started. I went and took a class. It turns out that that was a scam of a class. I didn't actually get any quality product or any quality training. I got a piece of paper with a few words on it, with some links that didn't actually work, with some expired product, all the things that should have made me be like, I'm not doing, I already wasted like $2,000. I can't do this anymore. But I kept going. And you can't forget that even though I had all this experience of me being, you know, job hopping, of me being all the things that I told you earlier, I was still really struggling with being shy and being scared and being nervous and being worried all the time. So I did something that I'll never forget. I started my eyelash business in my mother's home, and I didn't know how to market myself. My Facebook page at the time was me doing vague book posts and venting and posting things I probably shouldn't have been posting back then. And I made a decision to delete that page and start over. So I knew no one, but I happened to have been cleaning a gym. Like I said, I job hopped. I went up to several different women that were on the treadmill, and I said, "Hi, I'm Allison Bohansky." That was my name at the time. I live right down the road, and I just started doing eyelash extensions. Here's my business card. Will you please contact me if you are interested in getting them done? And I have had several of those customers to this day. That was like a big moment for me, to actually go up to some stranger and sell myself, introduce myself, and offer them the service that I was doing at the time. So that was a big moment for me. After that, it kind of, you know, progressed. I ended up getting an Instagram, learning how to do it. Right off the bat, I started contacting people that had a couple hundred followers, because at the time that was huge, or maybe like 1,000 or 2 followers, because again, at the time, that was huge. And I started messaging them, and I started calling them, because some of them I actually knew in person, and I said, hey, if I give you free lashes, will you post about me? Will you tell your friends about me? And that was my first experience with social media and leverage and influencers and all that stuff. And I ended up building up an Instagram that I stopped updating about 2.5, it might be closer to 3. Like, I truly stopped building 3 years ago, and I got it up to 11,000 people at one point, and all I did was post pictures of eyeballs and all my eyelashes. That job ended up turning into me owning 2 salons. I had over 40 employees through a 4-year time span. I had thousands upon thousands upon thousands of clients that I had to learn how to market and attract and get access to, if you will. I had to go through all this stuff, and I had to learn how to handle employees and how to create a culture and an environment. And I mean, I had no experience in a salon. I didn't even go to a salon. I had my hair colored normally from my mother from a box at Walmart. And I just kind of dove in, and I wasn't scared, I wasn't worried, I was more excited. And right off the bat, I mean, we had to fire someone, we had to deal with like so many different things, where I ended up having to take someone to court, like all the things that you don't ever want to deal with as a business owner. And anyway, I was like 22 at the time, 23 maybe. Brand new business, owning 2 salons, being an employer. I had to really like fight my way for my success. And I knew nothing, no one told me anything. I just kind of did what felt right. And a lot of those decisions were wrong. A lot of those decisions caused me to fail. My biggest experience, I gotta let this gosh darn cat out. Hi, baby. Hi. Sorry. Hi, guys. I have to go get a charger too. Anyway, so I had to go through a lot of betrayal, a lot of heartache, a lot of people stealing from me, a lot of people taking my ideas, a lot of people coming and working for me for about 6 months and then leaving and going and opening their own shop, which was a pattern that kept happening over and over and over. And what I learned, instead of being bitter, I learned that I was not a good manager, a good leader, a good employer. Thank you. Wait, can you plug it in? Well, never mind. No, I can do it. I just didn't want them to see my lower half, which is not.
I can crawl.
It's pajamas, guys. I'm wearing pajamas on my lower half. Thank you. I hope that worked. I think it did. Anyway, so instead of being bitter and wondering why I was continuously being used and abused and having everything taken from me, instead of it being like things happening to me, at the time I didn't know this, but like shortly after I was able to reflect on it and I was able to understand that I needed to be tougher and stronger and watched how I communicated and understand that in order to have a good team environment or a good place of employment, I had to kind of you have to put your foot down in certain situations, and I never put my foot down. I let anyone come in, schedule people when they want. My employees could have brought their kids. I let them come and go as they please. I mean, it really affected like our income, our profit, the ability to book people, just the environment and the experience that the clients had, because I was so lax. I was so unprofessional about being a professional employer. I'm not even sure like what words I needed to use right there. But anyway, so I started my first business. In that I failed a lot. Like I said, I failed a lot. I failed a lot. But then, all of a sudden, I was at a crossroads. I had my best friend at the time, she was in my wedding 3 weeks prior, had gone behind my back for the last couple of months with another one of my employees. There were about 200 clients on the list that I had given them. I gave her an Instagram that I had built up to over 1,000 people so that she could display her work and kind of be separate from the other girls. I allowed them all to have their own Instagram. That was dumb. And she took it from me, and she took all of those. They both took all of the clients. They already had a lease signed for a different place. They already told all their clients. And then one day I get a bunch of notifications on my phone, like, this person's appointment has been canceled, this one's been canceled, this one's been canceled, this one's been canceled. And at that moment, I knew in my heart that something bad was happening, but I ended up messaging her, and I said, I don't know what's going on, I'm trying to figure it out for you, don't worry, all this stuff. Well, they were waiting for me outside of my house in the rain when it was cold. And they brought me a hot chocolate and a cake pop and said, we just needed to move on. We needed to grow. We needed to do our own thing. And what they didn't realize is that they were taking away something I did for them. They were taking away something that I did for my business, myself. I found all of their clients. I taught them everything that they knew. I taught them all of these things, but I never looked at it as it was me. I didn't realize that I was giving them all these things, and I didn't realize that they didn't deserve to take that from me. And I just let these things happen over and over and over again. And that last one, I finally realized that this wasn't the life I wanted to have. This wasn't the pattern I wanted to continue. And so I made a promise to myself that I would let things happen the way that they're supposed to happen from now on, and that I wouldn't be bitter and I wouldn't make the same mistakes. So for the next couple of months, I ended up just kind of letting my salon die. I let all the rest of the people that work for me go. I let them go do their own thing, and I just said, you know, go live, go grow your business. And so I let that happen. But a few months before that, I was introduced to LipSense. I was introduced to a company I knew nothing about, and about 6 months after saying no, I'm not makeup, I'm not lipstick, I don't do any of this, I don't want to, I finally said yes. And I had no idea what I was doing. I get onboarded, I didn't have a party, I didn't have any of this stuff. I didn't even know about Fast Starts. I didn't know that we had other things other than LipSense. I didn't even know how to apply LipSense. I didn't know any of it. And I just ended up kind of realizing that it was an opportunity about 10 days in, whenever my first downline signed up. And gosh, I can tell you my story all day. I ended up just kind of running with it and being like, well, if she signed up, why can't all my friends sign up? Why can't all my old co-workers sign up? Why can't all my family sign up? And so that's kind of the story of that. But back to me hiring and firing and going through that first business experience. Remember earlier when I told you how sad and shy and scared and lonely and worried and nervous and all the things that I was? All of these things that I made up in my head that I told myself was happening to me. I would define myself now as strong, fierce, sarcastic, giving, stable, determined, opportunistic, a dreamer, a doer, enthusiastic, and loving. I'm not the words that used to define me, the shy, the scared, the worried, the nervous, all those things that literally, if you asked anyone about me, if anyone were to describe me, those were the only words that they could have used. And now that is so far past me, that is so far past who I am now, that I couldn't imagine attaching those words to my name or my business. Now I am strong. I know what I want. I know who I am. And getting back to the actual training, I want to tell you why that's so important to kind of discover who you are and to go through remembering all those hard times, remembering all the things that you left and didn't take that chance on, or that left you angry, or that left you broken. Those things are so important to be able to do this next part. So the next 2 pages, or the next couple of things I'm going to show you are images that I post about myself online and how I've branded myself for really the last year is when I've intentionally, 6 months, been doing this. I defined myself as sarcastic and witty, thankful and appreciative, self-love, acceptance, silly, childish, transparent, realistic, optimistic, motivating, determined, not settling, family and love. And then I have now since defined myself even more, which I actually need to go back through and rewrite some of this, but unprofessional but effective, intentional but a little lazy, energetic and sassy, lovingly direct, an opportunistic skeptic, unbothered and true to my word, if I can remember what I said, and then an intuitive dreamer. So now, all of these descriptive words are now who I am. And anytime I make a post, anytime I share something, anytime I leave a comment on anything, anytime I am active online, my post, my comment, my appearance has to fit in within one of these boxes because that's who I truly am. So I'm going to show you this. I don't even know. The printer didn't really work. We're going to try, guys. We're going to try. Okay. So, that's a really bright light. Okay, so here is an internet post, a Facebook post that I made. And I don't like I like being proud of myself, but I also don't like if I reread it and I'm like, whoa, you're bragging. I don't like that. But I like to be proud and show people kind of like what's possible. So that's kind of the intention that when I make posts about successes, I have to usually rewrite it and reword it because I don't want it to be about me. I want there to be some sort of like motivation or inspiration within the Pride post. So this is a big moment for me personally. I was selected to be in the magazine, the Acclaim magazine. I actually got a 2-page spread. It was absolutely nuts. Didn't like the photographer that much. Yeah, there's me. Anyway, so instead of being like, look, I made the magazine, look how great I am, I said, look, the sloth made the magazine. If you look right here, there's a sloth in our family picture.
No, she's in the room.
Hey, buddy.
She's in the room.
Come here. Come here. You want to come say hi? Come here.
Yeah.
Come here. Come here, my buddy. Say hi.
Hi.
Were you a good boy today?
This is so good.
Yeah.
It's done.
Okay. You got to go now. Where's your babysitter? Huggy, big huggy. Hey, babysitters! Go find them. Go find them. Where are they? Bye-bye. Okay, go find them. And lock. Okay. Okay, back to this. So, I said, instead of saying, again, like, look how cool I am, I made the magazine, I said, look, the sloth made the magazine. Also, what does paradigm mean? Because I really didn't know what it meant. And I wasn't pronouncing it paradigm at the time. So that's a post. It's kind of like intriguing, like what is this about? People were asking me what magazine, what's this for, how did you earn it, how did you get it? Instead, I was starting conversations by not saying all the things about what it was and also not necessarily like making it about myself too much. Over here, I wanted to make a post about the business that day. And I did a memory. That was one of the first things I ever bought for Peyton, was that plaything. And then I also posted a book with Joni, called her the boss lady. You know, it just kind of started a conversation. This one was a good one. This also, it brings in my sass. Remember the time when Daniel Duke was mad at me after I hid joining MLM for a month? Remember? Happy early Father's Day, anniversary, and birthday, and Christmas. Because I bought him that thing, whatever that is. And then last sassy one. Housework will kill you, but why take the chance? Those kind of things make me laugh. Okay, moving on. Then I've done some reflective posts. So this was a long post, like who remembers me when I hopped around from job to job? Who remembers me when I had a million ideas and told everyone, but nothing ever happened? Who remembers? This cat is playing with the cord. Stop it. Who remembers me when I was shy, sad, worried, blah, blah, blah. I made this post before I think either as I was going through the July thing or right before. So I knew that this topic was perfect for me, but I was just thankful for going through all those things. And so I made that post and it was good. I did a post that was silly and sassy, something wild's happening with the tiny hands. Thankful. And then this is one that I really want to share with y'all. This one's important to me. This is kind of a tool that you can use as you're branding yourself. Let's say you see something online that you like. Let's say you see a GIF or a meme or a video or whatever. Instead of saying or just sharing that post, which, let's be honest, if you go look at my page right now, there's like a million videos that I've shared that make me cry or make me laugh, or cat videos. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, those funny little pictures that you see that kind of make you chuckle. Maybe you'll text it to your friend. Why don't, instead of you saving that picture and posting it on social media or sending it to your friend, why don't you recreate it? Why don't you do exactly what I did? Me, Daniel Duke, I promise I won't spend more than $50. Cashier. That will be $215.75. Like, that got me Not that, you know, counting likes or whatever, but I had 18 comments and 103 likes, versus if I would have just shared the original meme, the original graphic, picture, whatever the heck that word is, I might have just gotten a few, and that got people like seeing me and what I was sharing and what I'm about and what makes me laugh, stuff like that. I have a million more things I could have shared with you. I just want to make sure I got through all of these. We're almost done, guys. We almost did it. All right, last one. So anyway, that's what I was saying was now I have these categories in these boxes that whenever I make a post, it has to fit in with one of those, because ultimately that's what defines me. That's who I am. So why is branding so important? I'm going to read this to you. I'm literally just going to read this right off the paper. When you know who you are, present it accurately to your audience, and are true to form, your business will see higher returns. This can manifest itself in many different wonderful ways. Higher revenue, increased market share, higher customer retention, lower team turnover, higher profit margin, greater operational effectiveness, etc. Make it strategic, creative, compelling, thought-provoking, and you will realize a competitive advantage. Be who you are. And I think that that's what I needed this business for, is to be okay with who I am, really discover who I am and be okay with it and be proud of it. And I think that that's something that Joni and a few other people have seen in me, and that's why I've been defined as that, and I just didn't realize it at the time, which is why it says New Paradigm in the magazine. And I don't even know what that meant, and just reflecting, if I wouldn't have reflected, if I wouldn't have thought about all of these things that have happened, all of the choices that I've made, I wouldn't know what I'm capable of. I wouldn't continue to push myself. I wouldn't be able to be this far in the business. There's so many things that I wouldn't be doing right now if I wouldn't have figured out who I was and where I wanted to go. So, if you don't mind, rewatch this video. Take some time to really think about your timeline and go through those emotions. I promise it works. Those emotions, thinking about them and all the things that I said in the beginning. Again, if you're just now tuning in, please rewatch. Go through those emotions. Go through those steps. It will help you so much. Just start to really truly understand and love who you are and what you stand for and what you want and where you want to go. So I urge you to do that. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for sticking around. The number really didn't decrease that much. That makes me really happy. I'm thankful I didn't put anyone to sleep. I don't want to leave. I was scared to get on. And now I don't want to get off. Anyway. Alright, well, thank you guys for joining. I really hope y'all are liking 12 Days of Kissmas. I honestly didn't have any intention of continuing this, but the more the people came up to me at events, told me how much it helped them and told me how much it affected them and changed their business, that's why I started the summer version, and that's why I'm continuing it again. And I hope y'all love the other people that I have here. I hope that you love the topics. I hope you're enjoying this, and I really hope that you take what you get from these trainings and actually apply it to your life and to your business, because that's the only way we're going to move forward. Okay, bye.